Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Brief Zebra Spotlight. Today we have with us Diogo Carneiro. He is the CEO of Cadabra Games. Hi, Diego.
Hi, Georgie. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so I think it would be best if you could introduce Cadabra Games for the ones that are not acquainted with it. Like, what do you do, guys, over there, and what's your intention of accomplishing?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so my name is Diogo. I'm the co-founder of Cadabra Games. We are an indie studio from Brazil, from the very center of Brazil. And right now we are on trying to do, let's say, a lot of small indie games at the same time. Because we can talk. I'm putting the horses behind the wheel here, but we can talk about that later. But basically, we are a small indie studio from Brazil.
Okay, perfect. Could you talk us a bit, Diogo, about how you got into the gaming industry? Because I think you come from a different background, and I think it would be interesting to hear about that.
Sure. I went to the advertising school, so I worked with advertisement for about 4 to 5 years, and I've always loved the art side of the advertisement, so illustration, and I had a background. I think that everyone that likes art loves to draw since we were a kid, right?
Yeah.
So then after these 4 to 5 years working with advertisement as an art director, I started doing some illustration freelances, especially for children's book.
Mm-hmm.
So for about 2 years, yes. And as part of that, I was trying to improve my portfolio, my art portfolio, my illustration portfolio. So I decided to create an art book for a fictional game. I invented some game, and I said, okay, let me create an art book that will be a cool portfolio piece. And while creating this art book, I met a friend, an old friend, and he said, "Oh, okay, so you are creating all this art for this game that doesn't exist. Why don't we create this game?" And that was just the beginning of my career in game development. When I
Okay,
joined.
interesting. And was that a door?
No, it
It
was
was a previous one.
another idea. Yes.
Okay. So nice, so nice. So let's talk about the door, because it was your debut title with Cadabra Games back in 2023, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
2023 was
Okay.
the release of 1.0. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a bit about the game, like do the 2-sentence speech, and what was the intention and how the reception has been with the game?
Sure. Adore, it's a creature collecting action game. So we decided to. It was really announced as Pokémon meets Diablo. So
Okay.
yeah.
No, I mean, it was. I've played through it through the demo this week, and it was such an interesting combination of mechanics and presented in a. To be honest, I was very surprised to be the debut title, how polished it was and how it felt. So I was curious about what was like the hardest part to make mechanically. Like, was the creature control, the combat readability? What was the trickiest part of Adore?
Oh, sure. Yeah, Adore began as we didn't have. To be true, the truth is that we didn't thought it as a creature collecting game. We at the time we loved to play StarCraft and other games that you control multiple units.
Mm-hmm.
But normally these games are really hard for casual players. You have too many keybinds, right? And the core idea was to bring this feeling of controlling multiple units in a simple way.
Mm-hmm.
That was when what started Adore. And after that, we introduced the creatures and so on.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's more like a process of iteration, right? Like, you think you're going to do this game, and suddenly through playtesting and showing it to people and iterating, you find out the true identity of the game.
Yes, and Adore at the beginning was a roguelike. and it ended up being, during the early access, we changed it to be an action adventure game, more of an RPG adventure game.
Yeah.
Because
And what about the reception of it? Like now that the game is done, how do you feel about it? What in regards of public reception, in regards of your own work, like what is the part of the game that you're most proud of?
I think that this in terms of gameplay, it's the way that we were able to do the controls of the creatures. It's simple. It's a simple way how you summon the creatures. You can control them in a more depth way, more complex way. But it's always in mind to keep it simple, right? And when we started creating Adore, we bought a place in a big convention here in Brazil.
Okay.
And we had nothing of the game. It was just a little square walking on the floor. But it was really nice because then we had a deadline. We have I think it was 9 to 10 months to produce a demo to bring to the convention. So
because which convention was it?
It's called BGS, Brazil Game Show.
Okay.
It was one of the biggest here in South America.
Yeah, interesting. And that was where you also received like an award for best game of the public or something like that, or am I just making that up?
Yes. Adore won the best Brazilian game in
there you go.
What is now Gamescom Brazil, Gamescom Latin America. Yeah, Latin. Yeah, before it was called Big Festival. Then Gamescom got.
Interesting. So I guess
we were really lucky. The first game we won, winning the best Brazilian game.
That's a way to start. So how did that end up transitioning into now this new game, Shepherd Knight, that you guys are preparing and are about to launch?
Okay, in Adore we launched it as an early access title. So I think it was 4 years. Yes, we took 3 years to 4 years in early access. Then we released the 1.0. So the first thing was, okay, we don't want to spend another 4 years in a game, and the Adore was made in Unity. So I think it was at the time Unity was having some trouble, right? Yeah. And we decided to move to Unreal. And to be real, the game that we were producing was not Shepherd. It was a third-person shooter. And when we moved to Unreal, but we stopped it and talked about it because it was getting too big. The scope was getting too big, and okay, we're making the same mistake that we did in Adore. Let's calm down, and then we decided to go to Shepherd. That is more. It's a more casual game, that it's not so heavy like an RPG.
Yeah. Let's also introduce to the audience Shepherd Knight, because I think it's also interesting to do this two-sentence pitch to understand how this game differs in terms of scope and intention.
Perfect. Yeah, Shepherd Knight is an adventure game where you guide your little flock of ships, mystical ships, through this world that is filled with dragons and other dangerous creatures. And you pass through a lot of puzzles, ancient puzzles.
Interesting. So in terms of scope, you were saying, you were talking about how Adore was like something that grew up a lot during those many years of development. How are you, like, what conscious decisions are you taking now with Shepherd to not make it as big? Like in terms of scoping, prioritization, which kind of mechanics do you want in the game and which ones do you leave for later?
Yeah. I think that is one of the most difficult part of learning to be an indie developer, right? But yeah, first of all, you need to define that you you really want to cut the game down, right? You need to have that in mind, because if you are if you are thinking about, okay, I'm going to do the biggest and best game, you kind of keep growing the scope, right? But when you have limitations, right? Okay, let's produce this in a year, in a year and a half, and you really keep that limitation, but because it's easy to put limitations and then, okay, let's put this
Move
one
it.
thing.
Yeah.
But when you discover that you can be really creative inside these limitations, is where it start to you start to see some things that, let's say, they are simple but very 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 good for the gameplay. It's not another feature that has nothing to do with the thousand other features. So if you have one or two features that talk to each other, it's much more rich in terms of gameplay, in
Yeah,
terms
and also
of
elegant in a sense. Like if you can cover with
elegant,
just
yeah.
3 mechanics the whole game, I think that like streamlines it also for the players. I think now you're talking, Diogo, about the limitations. I think it would be super interesting to know how did you first set up those limitations. Like when you are preparing to making a new project, what's the first thing that you do? Do you do like a market research? Do you like staple the design pillars into the wall or something? Like how do you approach this start of the new project?
For this one, especially the Shepherd Knight, we have the theme of the game. Okay, let's do. I can't remember why we choose the. I think that came from Adore, about creatures and controlling multiple units, right? But we want something different, not just shepherd. A shepherd riding the flock. So let's make it a knight also that needs to protect the flock fighting, against dragons, and came from that theme. And about the scope in this one was, let's say, totally organic. For example, let's put this feature. Okay, how much it will cost to us, this feature? And one thing to have in mind is you can always cut any feature and keep the game interesting. I think that was one design pillar. You can always cut, and so all the ideas that we came up, we all, the first thing was, okay, we can cut this and keeping producing what we were thinking here.
Can you give us like an example of something that got cut off and why did it got cut off?
Oh, sure. Yeah. For example, we have in the game you have these ships, right? But they can transform in other type of ships. For example, the normal ship can be a fire ship and can be a wind ship, and there you can see that you can create an arcane ship and a lot of types of ships. And we have, I think it was 5 to 7 types of ships, and we end up with just 2.
Okay.
At the end, the normal ship and other 2 special types, the fire and the wind. Yeah. And it was crazy how much we could do with just these two types of. In the game, you have, for example, the wind ship. You can throw it, and it start. If you jump on top of it, you are thrown into the air.
Yeah.
And with just that mechanic, you were able to produce a lot of puzzles and interactions.
Yeah, I think this is one of the common traps that indie developers fall into, this dream that having more content means that my game is going to be better or it's going to be longer or whatever. It's like, no. If you can just with 2 mechanics make enough interesting decisions, that's going to be also great, because in terms of costs, in terms of tutorialization, in terms of elegance, as we were talking earlier. Yeah.
I think one problem is that it's much easier to create another, for example, in this game, another type of ship and produce new mechanics. It's much harder. It's much easier to do this than, okay, I already have this mechanic. Now, what can I push further to find new things here. This push is much harder than creating a new idea, but it's much more elegant, as you said, and
Yeah. And when you're thinking about these mechanics, these puzzles, what are your explanations? Because I mean, playing through the demo, I saw a lot of the Nintendo philosophy through it. How do you present the new elements, how you combine them, how you twist them. Can you talk us a bit
yeah.
about that?
Yes, Nintendo was a huge inspiration on this game, especially because, as I told you, Adore was much different from this game, and into Shepherd. We need some new reference of how to teach the players, especially not kids, but Nintendo is very good with kids, right? They know how to captivate the kids, and this kind of interaction it's really interesting. How, right? So if you learn that, you can apply it to all kind of ages. No, I think it was really interesting to study the Nintendo games.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, like playing the game, I mean, we all know how escort missions and stuff always end up being super frustrating. And after all, if you are the shepherd of this magical ship, like the concept can sound super frustrating for some people. The taking care of them and making sure that they don't go to whatever. How did you make sure that creating this flock and moving them, directing them, didn't feel like clunky or as a drag more than anything?
Yes, it was very clanky and very boring, let's say. But and we were almost canceling the game because of that.
Oh, really?
Yes, my co-founder, my partner, my business partner, is up the programming, right? Do the programming. So he did an amazing job to create the AI for the ships and all of that to be fluid. But even with that, the game was boring. And it was one mechanic that we decided to put that changes it. That okay, now we can produce the game, and that was mounting the ship. You can mount as a horse, ride it as a horse. So when you ride the ship, you can get to places much faster, and the other ships they follow you. So and it was really fun, really fun to watch this mechanic.
No, I think that mechanic specifically it struck like this mix of this is just wacky that doesn't need to have any sense, but it's also super useful. So, and it has also like a mastery curve after all. Like the first time you get into the ship, it's super difficult to control, but that's the nature of it, right? Like they are not exactly clever, so you need to figure out how to move around. So yeah, I mean, I think
sorry, we can.
No, go for it, please.
Yeah, and thematically, you can. It's the knight part of the shepherd knight. So it was perfect mechanic to the game.
Like writing it, yeah. I'm so curious because at least from what we have seen from you guys so far, both Adore and Shepherd Knight, there's always this overlaying theme of the interaction between humans and non-human creatures or animals. What's your take on that? What's the philosophy regarding making not only the human character, which is usually what games make you control, but also the other part of the nature being a key aspect of the game?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. We never thought about that, about this interaction, but I think it's something that came naturally from us. And I would say it's more of I said before, we came from StarCraft. We are more of some kind of hardcore gamers, more complex game, and I think but producing the games, we always have in mind that we keep it simple, to make it very easy for everyone to get the control and start playing. And maybe it's in that way that with more creatures, more units to control, it's bringing this feeling,
Yeah, it's interesting. I would like now to maybe switch a bit topics to talk about the art part of it, because I think also what you guys are creating is super interesting in terms of cohesion. I mean, after all, like you already did the Adore, now you're making Shepherd Knight, and they maybe they are not, but they seem to be in the same universe, the same world. Is that something that you are creating consciously, also for the future? Like the next Cadabra games, like are they going to be with the same style, the same approach to graphic style and everything?
Yes, in Adore we tried to and we even listened to a publisher told us what you are making here is a piece of art. We don't need a piece of art. We need a product. And that was in my mind. Okay, it's true. We need to. It's the final. It's a product. So we need to improve our workflow and the art workflow. And art is a huge part of our games, but it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of costs, right? Budget. So I think maybe it's this transformation that we are doing in the company to how can we produce more with less, right? Especially for an indie game. So, for example, the textures we use it to hand painted all the rocks, for example. Né?
Yeah.
But now it's a procedure generated with Substance Painter, let's say, right? But I think that this is part of this. you bringing the art style to other games, right?
Yeah. And regarding that, because you said you used to do all this work, how about like the first steps into creating for example, the art design or the art style for Shepherd Knight? Like, what was your approach, your process into arriving to what we are now?
Okay, we knew that the idea was to have a cute game, a very cute and fluffy game with cute ships, and then we decided to. The main character was a boy. We decided to make it a girl, so it is even less. It's even more cute, but the contrast with the road, that it's a road that have dragons, it's very dangerous road, so you have a good contrast between the character and the road.
Okay. So now you also touch, now that we're talking about the procedurally generated stuff, that's also a decision that comes from, I guess, the nature of the studio at the moment. Like, you're an indie-sized studio. What would you say is the biggest challenge for you at the moment in order to produce like a high quality game? Like, is it just content? Is it investment, as always? Is it like, what are the challenges?
One really nice challenge is, for example, we love to bring the people in-house to have not just hire freelance, right? But when you hire someone, a contractor, to be in-house, it's really easy to have no job for him to, right? And for example, if you bring a concept art, maybe in 2 or 3 months he is done with the art, and there's nothing more to do. But when you bring someone inside, it's different, it's really, really different. He gets more involved in the project. And this was our challenge. We really wanted to keep people in-house. And for that, we started studying how can we create multiple projects.
Okay.
So everyone is working on something, And Digital Sun was an inspiration for us, because a long time ago I was watching a video, and I can't remember who was talking. Someone from Digital Sun.
Yeah.
But he was talking about this, about having. I think that they had 30 people, something like that at the time. And how they were producing other projects. And then I said, okay, that's something that I want to follow. And also in this talking about this, Chalavier, I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, Javi, probably.
Yeah, from Strange Scaffold. He also talks a lot about how he is producing multiple games and got in love with this idea, and yes, and this was a challenge to keep people inside the company. And because working with freelance is really hard, sometimes you need to go out and find someone, but it's not in the style that you need,
Yeah.
So, and yes, that was one of the challenges that we're confronting right now.
Yeah, I mean, you just opened the door for the next obvious question. So you are having like several development projects at the moment. How did you manage to do all that? Like, do you usually do them at the same time? Do you do like a cascade, or are you just juggling everything?
Yes, juggling. But for example, right now we are about to release Shepherd Knight, right? And we have Adore mobile also that we are releasing 1 or 2 months after that, and we are producing a card game right now,
Okay.
and we have another game in pre-production also. So it's almost 4 projects at the same time. But we were able to bring another programmer to the team to work part-time in a project. So it was really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad to hear that you guys have a lot of projects on your table. So what's next for Cadabra Games? You just more or less talked to us about that, but
Yeah.
what would you like to get in the next 5 years, like your goal for the company, and in order of for like I want to have like these games on the market, I want people to play them, like what's the goal here?
Yes, I think that's in this path of having multiple projects, and especially not depending on me, as an indie team, you always, and this is one difficult part also, another challenge for indie developers is to learn to delegate, right? It's really hard. It's one of the, as we're talking about scope creep, delegates is also a huge problem for indie developers. We're trying to improve in that, so we can have multiple small teams working on multiple games, and who knows, releasing two games for each year.
Yeah. Okay, so best of luck with that, Diogo. I think that is more or less it. Everyone, please make sure to go follow Cadabra Games on every social media. We're going to link them down below, and also to wishlist Shepherd Knight.
Yes, please. Wishlist, yeah.
Okay, and I will see you guys in the next Brave Cibras. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Diogo. Obrigado.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Bye bye.